All right, got the legal piece out the way. My name is Noble Woods. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. You're going to have an amazing time. This is Limitless, the wealthiest class in America. The other tagline I often use is the only investing class you'll ever need. Now, this is designed to be a powerful 1 hour of your time. I want to make this training worthwhile. So let's jump right into it. Let's keep moving. I want you to first connect with me. You know how social media is. It's important to connect. I have your email. I'll make sure I keep you abreast of new classes that are coming. I got a really dope kids class that's coming. We got Limitless 2, which is a more advanced version for the people who want to make money a little bit faster than just, the basic long-term investing. But we all had to start with the basics. So if you want to stay connected to everything I'm doing, I got your email. But also I want you, if you're on IG, go ahead and connect with me on IG. It's Noble at the Master Trader. If you want to connect, of course, with the business side, which this is what it is at Limitless Class Now. Limitless Class Now. Go move over to Facebook really quick. Real simple and easy. It's just Limitless Class. Facebook.com/Limitless Class. You guys know how to search, of course. So today we are going to we're going to have some fun. I try not to give people rules. I'm a rule breaker. I'm a bit rebellious. I gotta admit it. So today I want to give you some freedoms instead of rules. Today is about, I want you to feel free to laugh, relax. This can be a very intimidating, stuffy, tough subject, but it won't be today. I promise you, it will not be today. I want you to challenge some of your own ideas. I want you to challenge some opinions. I want you to challenge some things you've heard, because I really got to get you open and see this the right way. And I also want you to dream. As I started learning and getting into investments, man, year after year, every time I learned how to make more and was doing better, it literally just kind of changed my level of ability to dream. I wanted more from life, right? So today is about perspective. You can kind of basically sort of watch and see where she's looking from. But what is she looking at? Does she see the rough terrain, the cacti, and the potential snakes and tarantulas and the rocks? Or does she see the mountain? Does she see where she wants to be in the future? If you're like me, you see the mountain and you'll get through the terrain. So like I said, today is not complex. We won't have math that's any deeper than 5th grade math. I don't care if you've never purchased a stock or if you've been investing for the last 10 years. That doesn't really matter to me. There's something for you to learn regardless of where you are, period. So today will not be complex. It'll be really practical. I use Apple a lot because I love Apple. It's really easy stock to trade. It's been really easy to invest in and teach from. And it's also a great company. Practicality for me sounds like a lot of what Apple does. So instead of having a mouse with 2 buttons, why don't we just make one mouse with 1 button, but the 1 button can kind of do 2 things, right? That makes more sense to me. It's a bit more practical. So you'll hear a lot of that sort of mindset today. Avengers. I want this to be an adventure. I'm recording this in early May. I've seen the Avengers twice, man. They made like 1.9 million. I looked it up on Box Office Mojo last night. They've made 1.9 billion in about a week. That's crazy. That's crazy from the first 2 weekends, right? So today is about an adventure as well. I want to take you through, we're going to have our own, there's a protagonist. I don't have a Thanos, but there is a fear. There's something that's keeping you away from investing all this time. So I want you to be the superhero in your own life. And we're going to have some fun. I got to do this. I got to take a little bit of time to give you my story. I think it's important to know who you're learning from, who your coach is in this 1 hour training. You're going to learn a lot, but it's also important to give you, some information about myself to let you know why I do this, how much heart and passion I put into what I do, and why I'm uniquely qualified to do it at the level that I do this at. So my story, I went from being intimidated about my financial future to literally trading one of the most sophisticated markets in the world, the futures market. A lot of people haven't even heard of futures, right? So my IPO, my initial public offering, it's when a company goes public. This is when I went public. February 14th, the year of Valentine's Day, baby, 1980. This is that like trifecta picture. In the middle, of course, I don't know why Black parents always wanted to put us in these wicker baskets. Clearly, I wasn't happy, and I definitely didn't want to be a sailor. I didn't become one, but hey, it's cool. The picture on the left is middle school. The picture on the right is when I was graduating from high school. And even though my dad is an amazing barber, rest in peace, rest his soul, I don't know why every time before a picture, I did not seem to have my hair cut. It's cool. It's cool. I'll live with it. So I'm an 80s baby. I grew up on a healthy dose of Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats. Oh, you gotta love the Thundercats. I was born in Gary, Indiana. I'm an only child. Gary, Indiana is a big city. It's actually a small city in the Midwest. It's kind of like a Detroit. We had the first black mayor in the country. And Gary just has gone through a lot of different, let's say, financial struggles. You know what I mean? The recession hit Gary really hard. It's kind of like a ghost town now. I haven't been home in a second, and I need to go home. But that is where I was born. I got a lot of friends who didn't make it out. Folks who either are in dead. I mean, in dead. Folks who are dead right now. Some guys who are in prison who didn't make it out. And then, there's definitely a lot of people who I know who, we were able to create a life for ourselves. We went on to do bigger and better things. We got those degrees and, we're living life and enjoying life. So I saw Boomerang, Marcus Graham in, I believe, ninth, 10th grade, changed my life. Changed my life. It gave me a vision for what I could do. I knew I was creative. I wanted to be in marketing. And he had the girls. He was smart. He got into marketing and advertising. So I ended up getting into Indiana University. And guess what I majored in? Marketing. Worked for a few advertising agencies here in Atlanta, having a really good time, but wanted to make more money, wanted to do better. I knew I was smarter. My first agency, they paid me like $28,000. That was nothing. I got up to maybe $40,000 before my M.B.A. Had some really great experience, but wanted to make more money. So I get into a mentor, really, pushed me to get into Clark, Atlanta is where I went. And I ended up getting my master's in business, concentration in marketing. I was working for Bank of America right out of school, making six figures for the first time in my life. Oh my God. I almost cried when I got my first salary. Like when they actually called me and told me how much I was making, which was actually 94.5, but with bonuses, I cleared six figures. Oh man, amazing time in my life. And but here's a funny thing. I'm working during the recession. During the recession, which is kind of tough, people were getting laid off. People who were there for 20, 30 years getting laid off. So I'm just like, oh, this is going to be tough. A buddy of mine called me one night. I will never forget this moment. It was a defining moment. I tell it in every seminar that I do. I'm telling you guys now. He called me and said, nope, I think the bank's about to get a bailout. He worked the city. And it wasn't insider trading. He wasn't like some C-level executive with all this prior, inside knowledge. He just had a hunch, right? Luckily, I had been investing $50 a month all through grad school because I just wanted to do something, but I didn't really know what I was doing. Probably like many of you guys, I was putting $50 a month because that's all I could afford as a broke student. $50 a month into Share Builder, which I forget who owns them now, but that used to be the name of the brokerage account. And brokerage is just a way to buy stock, right? So that was the account that I was using. I was putting $50 a month, $10 towards the Dow Jones, $20 towards Apple, $20 towards Google. I just bought what I knew from day one, right? I kept it really simple. I love Apple. I use Google a lot at school. I just bought those two companies. So middle of the recession is hitting really hard. He calls me and he's like, yo, Noble, buy as much shares of City as you can, my brother. I said, all right, let me try something different. I was ready to take a risk. I had about $5,000 in my checking, literally got in, placed the order a couple weeks later. This blew me away. My money had doubled from somebody who I know and trusted, calling me, telling me, hey, I think you should do this. Me listening, having the account set up, having the money there, finally getting to this point in my life, being able to actually see what this whole investing thing can do. It blew me away. So I doubled my money on City. I was super excited and something clicked in me like never before. I went back. I was literally, I was doing an 8-month rotation in Charlotte. I was there. I was at Barnes & Noble's every day. I mean, for months. On the weekends, I was at Barnes & Noble's and I was doing nothing but reading. Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Technical Analysis, 21 Candlesticks. I got into the technical side where you're really just looking at prices, right? You got to be able to understand price when you buy anything. The Disciplined Trader, Mark Douglas, an amazing, amazing book. So I'm coming back to Atlanta. Mama, I'm looking for a home. My mom is here. I'm an only child. I'm taking care of her. So we're getting ready to kind of go, look for a home because I knew I was going to be in Atlanta for a while. So I have a cousin-in-law by the name of Joel Harris, an amazing guy. I love him to death. I didn't know Joel at the time. He was my realtor. We're going out looking for homes, and I pulled out my phone at one point, standing in the home, really nice home. And I started looking at my charts. I'm like, I was in Apple. I was in a few different stocks at this point, so I was feeling really good about myself. So he's like, oh, you trade? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, cool. I'm like, well, we had finished looking at homes for that day. I was like, well, when can we come back out? Do you work or like, how's your schedule? He's like, no, I'm a trader. Like we can go whenever. And I was like, what do you trade? He was like, I trade futures. I was like, futures. I was dumbfounded. I didn't even know what futures were. I'm like, oil? What the hell are futures? And so he proceeded to tell me in the simplest form, which I love. He was like, you know how the stock market works because you're investing. Futures is just the buying power is bigger. So instead of making, dollars in a day, if you will, you can make hundreds to thousands of dollars every day with futures. It's just a bigger market that moves faster. The buying power is stronger. I was like, I'm in. Teach me anything you can teach me. I started paper trading on a fake account for about 9 months, every single day for 9 months, diligently. I was committed to learning this because I've once you make that first money in the market, it's like, man, this was, this was mind blowing. So I'm trading the futures. I didn't know what I was doing. I was losing terribly the first few months. I started slowly building a strategy. I kept reading more. I kept learning more. I got to where I was making really good money. And then this is what's crazy. My dad passed away. Had a second stroke, left me and my half sister some insurance money, life insurance. We split the money, of course. Only thing I bought one thing, which was a large screen iMac, so I wouldn't have to have, traders have 3, 4 screens. That was too complex for me. I wanted simplicity. I put the rest of that money in the market. I am trading silver, the metal silver, right? The precious metal. 3 in the morning when what do you call it? The European market opens. I get into my very first trade, live trade at this level. Now I'm still investing, but this is a whole different level. This is futures, right? So I make $675 in 5 minutes. I was blown away. My entire life I thought had changed when I started making money, that money from Citi. But when I made this money, something really, really, really clicked. And so I can show you better than tell you. I'll just kind of let this chart play for a few minutes, but this is actual. Whenever you think about investing, and I wanted to do this, I like to do this at my seminars to make sure people can see it. Because a lot of times investing is like, it's this conceptual thing, and it's like, well, I'm owning a company, and it's kind of a concept, right? Nobody really gets the certificates, the paper that says you own 1 share of Google or Apple or whatever you may buy. Most of these things are in computers, so they're a little tough to kind of, put your fingers around because they're not tangible. It's ownership. But this is what's happening. Every single time you buy anything, there's a market, there's literally a chart and prices with every single thing we could talk about. They're constantly in flux, they're moving. These are live, breathing markets. Prices are going up and down for thousands of reasons. And if I could honestly simplify investing, if you know the direction that asset is moving, all you want to do is buy when it's low. There's a way to make money when things drop too. I won't get into that today. That'll be more of an advanced training. But there's a concept called shorting. It's actually really simple. People struggle with it. It kind of is counterintuitive. But if I was to hit this red button that says sell market, I would literally be making money as prices drop. Now, as you can see in this specific trade, and don't even worry about the chart on the left. Don't even worry about that. All I want you to do is focus on the money. If you look at this, I'm in this trade. I've been in it 2 minutes. I'm already up $250. And so this is essentially what's happening. Every time you buy some shares of a stock or cryptocurrencies or weed stocks or foreign exchange or futures contracts, it doesn't matter what it is. These charts keep everything consistently aligned because everything that you can make money on, that you can invest in, has a price, and those prices fluctuate. If you can learn how to read these charts and keep it simple, you can do more damage than you know. A lot more damage than you know. So I've only been in this trade for about 2 minutes. Now, to give you just a little bit of insight, I'm trading 5 contracts. So roughly, okay, how much money is that, Noble? The contracts are about $9,000. Actually, if you have a 15,000, there's the 4 to 1, brings it down to 2,500. So to be able to place this trade, you roughly need about $20,000, right? I'm up $800, and this is literally 4 minutes. So that's enough. It's enough time to just show you up $900, right? So that's the more advanced level. I show you that intentionally because you're learning something from somebody who has learned at the highest level. There's a lot of people who talk about trading and investing. All they know is stocks or maybe options. Futures is the minority of the minority, right? So going back really quick, let me just kind of get through this. 2011, I started to invest in myself. I started making money. Those first 6 months were crazy for me. I was making $500 to $1,000 like every day. Now I'm working from home, so they didn't know what I was doing. I'd be on a conference call like, hey, and they're like, Noble, what do you think? And I'm like, oh, because I'm in a trade, right? So kind of slowly became tough to do both. I went to this conference, though, wanted to invest in myself. I wanted to learn more. And I went to a futures and foreign exchange day traders conference in Vegas. Another life-changing moment. 500 people in the room. Most of the people who were there were older white gentlemen, Indian guys. Not a lot of minorities, not a lot of women at all. Three women and virtually no young people. So I started to slowly have this budding idea, like, man, I need to teach this thing. It doesn't make sense though. I was struggling going back and forth with corporate, the whole corporate thing. So I had to, I had to cut the cord. Luckily, I was making money. I had learned how to make money, but I'll be very transparent with you guys. I literally started to struggle with trading after I quit my job. Why? Because I had less money. I needed to make the money now, and trading is all mental. Investing, though, really simple. And let me make sure to make the distinction. Investing is long term. You want to think 5 to 10 years out. You're buying Apple, you believe in it, great. Buy it at a great price and just hold it. Buy more. If it goes lower, buy more. Investing is not hard at all. Trading is really, really complicated. It's more so a profession. So this training is solely 100% about investing. I started to, like I said, think about, can I make this a business? I love teaching. So everything I was learning, I wanted to share with somebody anyway. So I got the idea, came up with the name Limitless. The movie came out a little bit after that. So I was like, man, I got to really do this. But before I can do this as a for-profit business to teach adults, I got to teach kids. If I can't teach kids, I'm not good enough to do it. You got to be able to break this stuff down and teach kids. And as you can see, I keep it very practical. They are learning how to read candlestick charts. They're talking to me about price fluctuations and what we're using. 10-piece Popeyes meal. That was the market, right? So I had to keep it really simple. Kids taught me so much more than I probably taught them. They learned how to explain what a mutual fund is, what shorting means. If you ask them any company in the Dow Jones, what's the ticker symbol? What's WMT? They say, oh, that's WMT is Walmart. What's KO? Oh, that's Coca-Cola. So kids learned a lot. They blew me away. Middle school kids at the Ron Clark Academy. Middle school kids. So I knew I could teach. I had learned the advance. And all the advanced markets do is they force you to be able to make the decisions a lot faster. That's all it really is. Investing, you have a lot more time to make these decisions. I knew I wanted to merge the two. So, I thanked the parents, started designing what now is Limitless, an online on-demand class. And so it was based on the simplicity of kids, but also with the advanced level of somebody who was able to make money successfully as a day trader. So 2013, started to have a few live seminars. This was here in Atlanta. Had a good time. Humble beginnings. This was like the first flyer I used, and the class was previously hosted on a platform called Udemy. 2015, started really building a business. Started running Facebook ads and, really trying to understand how to better equip people and how to reach more folks. 2017, had a few years of just kind of going through those challenges and learning how to really build a business from scratch. Yeah, I got an MBA, but it's one thing to have an MBA. It's a whole other thing to actually be able to build a business. So 2017, started doing these live events, started doing the t-shirts. Oh man, I'm all about fun. If you ever get a chance to come to an event, even after watching this training, please come. It's gonna be the best, livest event you're gonna go to related to like financial anything. It's never stuffy and boring. Never stuffy and boring. This was Atlanta. We had a really good time in Atlanta. I've done about, 15, 16 events over the last like 2 years. This is Indianapolis, Naptown, which is kind of like my second home. I went to IU, of course. I told you guys. IU is in Bloomington, which is like 45 minutes away from Indianapolis. So some of the people in these pictures are friends as well as students. Friends as well as students. Right here, this is 2018. This is an event that I created called Limitless Ladies. I wanted to do something specifically designed for women. Women in general are not as privy to this information, but they are the ones who are making all the household purchasing decisions, as you guys know. They tend to be a little bit better with money, as I think a lot of most people know. And then, for me, as an only child, I think about my mom. I share my mom's story, how her ups and downs and trying to build wealth and what she never knew. She never knew about investing. She knew about real estate. All right. So this is like a very special sort of thing that I like to do. And all of these are not just people holding t-shirts. They're students. They're people who actually signed up for the class. This was actually the first class. I probably should have showed that picture first, but, love what I do, man. It's so important to love what you do. This is a program that was launched recently. It's called Elite. It's basically my 1 year one-on-one training for folks who want to do day trading. You want to get to the highest level. You want to make this a career. You want to be able to quit whatever your job is, whatever degree you went to school for. You want to be a money manager and be able to do this on a day-to-day basis. So that comes with the premium cost, and honestly, that's cheap. Why do I say it's cheap? Because if you can make 1,000 a day, what's 25,000, right? It's all about the return. This is my pride and joy. This is the last part of the story piece, and then we're gonna just keep moving through this information in this training. 2019, I went back to Indianapolis. Was asked by actually an old friend from college who's doing really well. Her and her husband love their kids. Yeah, they wanted me to come up and do an event for kids. So it was a great opportunity. It was about an hour and a half. As you can see, man, we went through everything. Kids love the t-shirts. We went through Bulls and Bears, and we talked about different companies, and we had fun. Had a blast. This is my nephew. He was at my last event in Indianapolis. He actually has a brokerage account that I set up for him. He doesn't even know. That's the crazy part, right? You can do this through a company I'll tell you about a little bit later. And I owe him some stock from the last purchase, but I'm actually waiting on a few things to come down. So it's all about the timing and price, which we'll talk about later too. But here's the thing. He's going to be one of my kid teachers for my kids class. This summer, I'm starting to film the kids class. So like I said, stay tuned. A lot of great things are coming. I'm just getting started. So for me, this is about purpose. I say all the time, people will ask me, well, if you're trading, if you do this, if you know this, or why do you teach? Like, people kind of don't get it. They think it's like a hustle. And I tell people all the time, it's either heart or it's hustle. You cannot have gone through all the things I have gone through to learn how to teach people, to create this business just on some, like, I want to make money because I need to make money this way. No, it's either heart or it's all hustle, right? And so I've gone through so many different things. The sacrifices have been big, but they've been so worthwhile, you know? I've lost relationship. I've lost friendships. I've had to reshift thinking about who I am as a person when I had some down times when the money wasn't flowing. You know, I had to kind of really dig into my faith deeper and figure out, like, who am I? What is this? Why am I here? Why is this something that I feel like I've definitely been called to do. So for me, it's about purpose. And to keep it simple, my purpose with this specific venture and this thing that I've committed to is to inspire kids and teach adults how to invest in the markets with confidence for life. With confidence for life. It isn't taught, you know. I didn't get this in middle school, high school, college. I didn't even learn this with an M.B.A. So you, just like me, you're here for one thing. I remember my very first job, that first agency that was only paying me $28,000. Some folks came in, they were doing like this whole presentation. It was really nice. It was like these 6 keys to wealth. I remember going to this building downtown Atlanta, getting lost. I sat down, they talked to me about financial advising and all this different great stuff they'd be able to do for me. And then it was like, to start, it was $1,500. I didn't have it. And they said, well, we'll see you when you have it. Right. I remember a woman that I met at my church. I went to her house one day. I was helping her to move. She was day trading. I had no idea what she was doing. I asked her some questions. She couldn't really explain it and break it down. She gave me a book. I tried to read the book. I couldn't get through it. That was the most education I had before, all of this happened that I just walked you through. So I know you're here for one thing, and that's to be able to transform. If you're like me, you probably do this often. You take an iPhone or a tablet, you will hop on Amazon and you'll buy something like maybe Google Home. And if you think about that process, just in that transaction of buying something, you're literally keeping the employees employed. You're keeping the shareholders happy from your consumer dollars of those 3 companies. What you want to get to is being able to also not just buy the companies, not just buy the products or the services, but to also put inside of your shopping basket the stocks. And I say it all the time, investing is just shopping. The terms are different. Yeah, you need to know how to read charts. It's pretty basic stuff, but it's really the exact same process. And here's the principle for the day. Buy what you buy. Buy what you buy. It's that simple. Across everything that you do. If you can think about, I just bought, this ticket to, let's say you just bought a ticket to, I'm going on a cruise this summer. Right. So let's say you're thinking about like Carnival, or maybe you made the purchase once again on your iPhone. Right. You did all the research on your iPhone. Should you buy Apple? It's really simple. Should you buy what you're buying? That's the principle. It makes investing simple. So let's go back for a second. I mentioned the Avengers. They've done incredibly well. I'm recording this training in May of 2019. So here's the quiz question. If you wanted to make money, though, if you've seen all 21, 22 of the movies several times, you got t-shirts, maybe you got kids who bought the toys. How do you make money? How do you get your share? It's real simple. You got to know who owns it. So who owns it? Marvel, which was purchased by Disney. Yes, Disney. Same people who doing Lion King and every other little cartoon movie that you love and probably have grown up loving. They own Marvel. And so if we looked at Marvel, this little green arrow is when, I mean, green arrow, green star is when Marvel was purchased. This is a 10-year run. It's been amazing for Disney. At the time, the price was $26. Right now, it's about 142. That's a 667% return. That's what investing is about. And this is Disney. Now, here's the point to make, too. If you're watching TV, you're probably not going to hear a lot about Disney. You're going to hear about all these weed stocks. You're going to hear about Bitcoin and all the new technological innovations. Like, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of companies that are profitable, that are doing well, that you can make money on. It's not about sitting watching TV all day waiting for people to tell you what to do. So I'm going to walk you through a process a little bit later as well. And I'm going to show you, I want to show you how simple this can be. Right? So today is about transforming you, a la Optimus Prime, one of my favorite characters. You gotta love Optimus Prime. And I told you guys, I'm an 80s baby. So when they killed him in, what was that, the second movie, first movie? Oh, man, it broke my heart. It broke my heart. I couldn't take it. Then they brought him back and he died again. They brought him back. It's Optimus Prime. You can't kill Optimus Prime. So another quiz question real quick. If you want to just make money off Optimus Prime, Transformers, they've made billions. How would you do it? Hasbro. And these are ticker symbols for those that don't know, right? So a ticker symbol is just an acronym. Usually it's a couple letters taken out of the name. It's a real easy way to just memorize that company without seeing the entire name, right? And so Hasbro has done really well. I mentioned the Transformers because I was in Pittsburgh doing my M.B.A. internship when the movie came out on 6/9/09. It was $25.45 per share, right? I didn't buy any. I didn't really know as much as I know now. I should have thought about it. Maybe it wouldn't have been a long-term play. I don't know going back. But either way, I saw the movie literally like 9 times. I was so bored in Pittsburgh. No offense if you live in Pittsburgh. I was getting lost all the time, all these bridges. It was just a rough summer. I was making good money doing an internship at GlaxoSmithKline working on Aquafresh, the toothpaste brand. But I wish I had been investing. That's what I probably should have done. Should have been buying what I was buying. So as I walk you through this agenda today, we're going to talk about what is investing, the core and the meat, and I want to get there. I'm going to walk you through these 5 myths, and I'm going to teach. This is not going to be one of those light, fluffy trainings where it's just about, kind of giving you a little teaser information. Now, you're going to get some real information, some meat. You are going to get some meat today, so stay tuned. These 5 myths are really key. If you believe investing is hard, you won't do it. You'll stay scared. You'll stay limited. You'll wake up 20, 30 years from now and wish you had taken me serious in this specific training. I don't have enough money to invest is another myth. You do. I'll break that down, keep it really simple. You'll be amazed at what you can do with just $20. I don't know what to invest in. You do. I'll cover that, go through a nice process that I teach in my class, Limitless. I don't know when to invest. Oh, you do. You do know when to invest, and I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. And I don't know how to invest. Well, that's where I come in. And this training is something that's designed, of course, to help you see it. But I got an option for you at the end of all this to be able to, of course, make sure that you have the full breadth of knowledge that you need to be able to do it. It's not hard. It's just shopping. I say it all the time. I wish people understood how simple this all really is. So anyway, what is investing? What is investing? Well, you're probably thinking about the money aspect. Yeah, the formal definition is to expend money with the expectation of achieving a profit. So yeah, that's the definition, generally speaking. But today I want to reposition you. I want to shift you just a little bit. I want you to think about this differently. I think an investment is every decision that you make. Every decision that you make. If you speak positive and loving words to people, you are putting value in them. You are affirming them. You are validating them. You're loving them. Or you're demeaning them. You're pulling away from value. You're lowering self-esteem. You're damaging who they are, their psyche, right? If you think about your body and how we eat, everything you eat, it's positive or negative. There's a big difference between kale and, some fried catfish. Really big difference in terms of what that will do to your body down the line. You know what I mean? In terms of investing in yourself, right? Relationships. Oh my goodness. So I got a professor. He's an amazing guy. He's a multimillionaire. And what he told us, he basically said, look, if you're really, really serious about this wealth thing, one of the most important decisions you are going to make is who you marry. We were blown away. We had a long, good conversation. I wish I could go into some of the things he taught us. I can't today. I want to be cognizant of your time, so I'll keep moving forward. But every decision that you make, because here's the thing too, at the core of it, every bad decision you've made, you've been there. You've been a part of every bad decision in your life. You approved it, you saw it, you cleared it, you checked it, you allowed it, right? So there's an accountability thing that comes with investing. And really, I think at the core, if you believe that you are worth money, you're worth the wealth that you want, you'll make it. Now you gotta have the right training, but I think there is a deeper level of something that actually happens, right? So Tony Robbins said, "It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped." I would agree, Tony. Chance the Rapper, if you're into hip hop, something I try to instill in others is just to be a good person. It's a decision you make 1,000,000 times a day, 1,000,000 times a day, which is kind of like investing. Once you learn this, the goal is just to keep repeating it and doing it over and over and over and over for the rest of your life. So what about financially? Well, let's go here for a second. If we could put everything about America into a price tag, right? Everything that has value that you can sell. These are America's assets. Top 8 assets. Real estate is number 1. Companies like McDonald's, yeah, you may not like the burgers. You may have some issues with the healthiness. That's cool. McDonald's owns a ton of real estate. Ton of real estate. Pension funds, not as normal as they used to be. Most of us don't have pension funds. Non-corporate businesses or private businesses like Chick-fil-A that you can't buy. Corporate equities are companies that you can buy, like Facebook and Netflix. Mutual funds are collections of stocks. Here's the thing. Consumer durables, it's just the stuff we buy. Honestly, the stuff that a lot of people use to try to impress other people. It's clothes, it's jewelry, it's phones, it's all these consumer things that once you buy them, they don't really make you any money. It's the cars, clothes, right? Bonds and life insurance are the last 7 and 8. And you know, life insurance is really important for me because that's how I started. If my dad hadn't left that money, you know, it would have totally changed the trajectory of my life. So, wealth. When we're talking about wealth, we are talking about 2 things: knowing how to buy and sell real estate, knowing how to buy and sell investments, period. If you ever go to another financial seminar, you read a book on wealth, and they're not talking about, at least they hint on the fact that wealth is these 2 things primarily on a financial basis. And the 5% is the consumer durables. That's the stuff. So everything else, invest in the real estate. I want you to know that. So who are the best investors? I get this question a lot because people, when they approach investing, they're like, well, don't you have to have a license? Like, can I learn how to do this for myself? So here's the funny thing. A Series 7 is just, it's a license that a lot of people who are financial advisors will, of course, have to obtain to be able to sell products, right? These products that will, make you money, assets, stock, right? To be a stockbroker. So the Series 7, though, if we dig into what's behind it, it seeks business for potential customers. You can open accounts. You can provide customers with recommendations, transfer assets. You can obtain and verify customer purchases. So it's a lot of customer here. Right now, I totally respect the profession. I have friends who are amazing financial advisors. They help you put your entire portfolio together. They help you think about more than just making money. It's about clearing you off your debt. It's about having adequate life insurance. If something happens to you, are the kids going to still go to school? Like what's going to happen if something happens to you? But the point I'm trying to make with this is you don't need this specific license to be able to buy and sell stock on your own. You don't. It's a $245 test. But here's the thing. The test is pretty cheap. It's only $245, less than the price of a TV, but you have to have a financial institution backing you. You can't just walk in and say, hey, I want to take the test. Somebody has to, like a Merrill Lynch or somebody has to be literally have signed off saying that you are now allowed to come and take this test. So do you really need a professional? This should blow you away. This is more evidence that it's hard to beat the market over time. So here's the facts. If all I taught you was how to buy the Dow Jones, which is a broad market index, it's the big 30 some of the biggest, best companies in our quote unquote league, right? So the way I teach my kids, the Dow Jones, the S&P are like all-star team. To be an all-star team, you got to be one of the best. If every single player who was in last year's all-star team was sick this year, this would kind of be bad season, recession, right? So the benchmarks, the Dow Jones, really, really important, big 30 broad market companies that everybody knows and loves, generally speaking, right? If you only knew how to buy the Dow Jones year after year, month after month for the rest of your life, would you beat the market? Would you beat the thousands of mutual fund investors? And think about this, 401k is the number one vehicle for retirement in this country. Those funds are managed by, mutual fund managers, but do they beat the market? Do they beat the Dow Jones? 95% of the time, no. If you look across these different stats, they have it based on a 1 year, 3 year, 10 year, and a 15 year. If you look at the 15 year, it's crazy. 92% of large cap funds, you'd be better than on your own just buying the Dow Jones. Mid-cap funds, doesn't matter. 94% of the time, you be better. You make more money. 95% of the time with small cap funds, and small cap, mid cap, large cap are just like different sizes, different values for companies. You don't even really need to know, get into that deeply. The point is that you can learn how to invest for yourself. So here's the truth. No more magic tricks, no more lies, no more hype, no more dependency. The people that I love to reach and the people like you, they simply want to know, how can I do this for myself? The best investor is you. Nobody's going to manage your money like you. Nobody's going to treat you the way you treat you. It's the simplest, most practical thing. So having a financial advisor and all that stuff is amazing. It's great. I definitely recommend it if you feel like you need it, and you probably do on some level, to put your entire picture together. But should you be able to do this on your own? If you got some bonus from work, you got an extra 5,000, you maybe get a tax refund check back. Should you know how to pull up a chart, find a good price based on something you buy, and know how to buy it? Of course you should. Of course. So let's do this really, really quick. I normally will go through this, put people in groups. We have some fun. We play some music. I give away prizes at the seminars. It's a webinar. It's a bit different. I can't do all of that, but I do want to walk you through this because this has value. These ticker symbols represent companies. There's 30 companies. I'm going to go through a few of them. AAPL is Apple. I want you to think about these. Do you know these as I'm going through them? What's AXP? It's American Express. BA, it's not Bank of America. It's Boeing Airlines. CAT is Caterpillar. CSCO, it's not Costco, it's Cisco Systems. CVX is Chevron Oil. KO, I mentioned it earlier. My kids know these. KO is Coca-Cola. DD is DuPont. XOM is ExxonMobil. And I'll just kind of fly through the rest of these. The point that the reason I do this in my seminars and the reason I teach people these ticker symbols is because I believe the more companies you know, the more you will feel, it's almost like onboarding you, bringing you into the culture of investing. The more companies you can recognize, it's just like level one. And all it is memorization. But I'm telling you, the more companies you know, you slowly start to feel a little bit more confident. And it's what I think is like the starting process, right, to becoming an investor. So GS, I'm gonna go down the middle row. Goldman Sachs, HD, IBM is IBM, it's obvious. INTC is Intel, J&J is Johnson & Johnson, JPM is JP Morgan, MCD is McDonald's, MMM is literally 3M, MRK is Merck, Microsoft, last row, Nike, Pfizer, Procter & Gamble, Travelers Companies, United Healthcare Technologies, United Tech, I forget their name, UTX, it's United Tech something. I don't know why I always stumble on them. V is Visa, VZ is Verizon, WMT is Walmart, and you know DIS, Marvel, Avengers is Disney. Why do I do this? Because the connection is that's your Dow Jones. That's your Dow Jones. So once again, Dow Jones All-Star team, really important benchmark. If all you knew how to do was invest in the Dow Jones or S&P, you'd be able to set yourself up to be a savvy investor just by doing that. You would beat most of the mutual funds that you're probably investing in right now through your 401k. If you don't have 401k, there's ways to still, build your own 401k and make those decisions yourself. So here's the question. What determines your wealth? Because all this at the end of the day, it's about wealth, which for me, wealth isn't just the money. Like, I want to have a great quality of life. I want to be healthy. I want to have a great relationship with my wife. I'm not married yet. I want to have a positive, strong relationship. I want to have good nutrition. I want to have good relationships with my family. Like, wealth is making good decisions in every area of your life. So what determines your wealth? Is it degrees? Nope. Is it marriage? Is it who you marry in? Nope. It's important, but it's not the only thing. Is it you starting a startup? Nope. Is it your education? Even though you're here in this training, it's not your education. What is it? It is your belief. It's your belief. At the core, everything you do, regardless of what you say, we should be able to tailor it back to the belief. Your beliefs, they have a ability to shape your life in a way that if you don't know how deep beliefs are, you really should take some time and do some research and just kind of read up on it. If you say you believe in savings, but you don't save, you don't really believe in saving. If you say you believe in treating people a certain way, but generally speaking, you're kind of mean to everybody around you, then you don't believe that. Right. So just because you say something that you say that you believe something doesn't mean it. And in our actions, in our health, and our finances, our true beliefs come out. So here's the 5 things that every survey I've ever read about investors generally says. It says these 5 things. Most people believe investing is too hard, which is why they stay away from it. Most people believe, especially millennials, I don't have enough money, and you do. I don't know what to invest in. That's a simple process. I'll knock that out today. I don't know when to invest. That's not too much more complicated. I'll break that down today. The technology has made it where it's easy to tell when something's on sale, when a stock is on sale. And then I don't know how to invest. You're here going through this training to get that, right? So, and let me say this one last thing to it, because as an African American male, I know most of the people who watch these videos, it's an affinity thing. We're attracted to who we are, right? So there was a survey, a study that came out about a big company named Ariel Schwab. They did this, I believe, early, like mid 2000s, like maybe 2008, 2009, something like that. It's a little bit old, but I think it still resonates. And they basically did a survey, a black investor survey that said most black people in this country start seriously thinking about and considering investing when they make six figures. But only about 5-6% of African American, of Black America, makes six figures. Our counterparts, white America, generally speaking, they start to invest and get serious about investing when certain age happens when they hit 30, right? So if you're white, everybody's going, if you live, you're going to hit 30. African Americans, it's totally different, right? So I want to kind of even shift that mindset. It's not about making a certain level of income. It's not. So the first thing I want to knock out today, though, is I don't know what to invest in. Let's jump directly into this. So more is complexity. More is complexity. If you went to Italy on vacation, hopefully taking some money out of your brokerage account because you made a lot of money on some stock over the last few years. You want to, pay yourself, take a little bit of money out, go on vacation. You go to Italy. You go to a pizza spot, there's 4 options. You're like, maybe, it's really authentic. You go to a place across the street, and it's probably more Americanized with 40 options. Which one is going to be harder to pick? Which one will you stand in line just thinking and thinking and thinking because the options have made it so complex that now you're struggling to even make a decision? The more options makes it tougher. And we talk about the stock market just domestically here in America. There's over 5,000 stocks. So I get the intimidation. I get why it's like, I want to invest. I don't even know where to invest. So let me help you out. Less is simple. Less equals simple. So your family probably has a budget. If you don't, you should have one just to keep track of your money, right? What's coming in, to know where every dollar is going. You need to assign every dollar a place to go, even if it's savings, right? Even if it's putting it in an account just to invest it later. So here's the thing. Buy what you buy is the principle. Your consumer purchases can help you to know where you should be buying stock. Why? Because there's something I created called a stock trail. It's a concept. But what it means is that if I was to look through all of your purchases and see what you do every month, guess what? I could literally find the trail of all the companies that you're helping those shareholders to get rich because you're buying the products. Month after month, you're paying for certain things. So for this example, cell phone, if you're me, you got an iPhone. I love Apple. So that's the stock is Apple. Provider is Sprint. Card note, Bank of America. And I don't have a card note right now, but I do have a Bank of America account because I used to work for Bank of America. Grocery, if you go to Whole Foods, maybe you live in a nice, area, nice little subdivision, you're in the suburbs. There's probably a Whole Foods somewhere nearby. They're owned by Amazon. If you're like me and you run ads for your business on Facebook, Facebook is publicly traded. So those stock options, out of those 5,000, I want to shrink that pool of options down to 20 or 30 that you touch, specifically you. So if I did this with 100 people in the room, guess what? We're not just going to talk about the 3, 4, 5 popular stocks they keep talking about on television over and over and over. Everybody's going to go through the same process, can go through it, and you would see where you should invest based on where you're spending your money. Super simple process. I walk you through it in the actual online class, Limitless, which I'll talk about and give you an amazing opportunity to think about signing up for later. But the way that it works, it's kind of like a scavenger hunt. I tell people, hey, take the weekend. This is a project. So I walk you through the 10 different sectors, like the financial sector, and I ask you questions. Who do you bank with? Where do you get your small business loans? Who has your mortgage? Where did you get your car loan from? Who do you have insurance through? Think about your subdivision, your home builder, right? So I ask these questions really to kind of create an advanced budget / stock trail. Even if you said, you know what, Noble, well, I bank with Bank of America, but I don't want to invest in them for whatever reason. That's cool. We can expand those options because Bank of America is a bank. Right, so we know it's under the financial sector, specifically in the subcategory of banks. So maybe there is a number 1 or 2 in that area. There's always a number 1 or 2 in every area. So maybe you should just invest with the companies that are doing the best versus the ones that you're investing in because you touched them, right? And then maybe you need to switch, your actual consumer dollars a little bit, right? So I finalize or help you finalize that list, and then we kind of categorize it. And then what I teach in the class, we just go from there. So you first need the list. So hopefully this makes sense. The 5,000 companies, if you like, man, I want to invest, I don't know where to start where you've already started. You're already doing this. You're already buying companies. You're already making shareholders rich because you spend money every single month, every year for the rest of your life. You can't live in this economy and not spend money. There's no way to get around it. So that's a pretty simple one. This next one, I don't have enough money. This one is fun. I like this one. This one's fun for me. So how do you buy gas? Most people go to the gas pump and say, give me 15 on pump 10. Now here's the thing about that you gotta realize. Replace gas with 401k. Think about market for a second. You're buying the same dollar amount every month, right? So you're buying a dollar amount. If you have a 401k and you can make your allocation, maybe you're doing 5%. If your company does a match of 7, maybe you're doing 7%, and then they'll give you 7% on top of that, right? A wealth tip, I'll say real quick. You probably should max out your 401k. Why? Because 401k is the #1 investment retirement tool. So even if all you did was max it out, it would force you to live a little bit below your means. You could always change the allocation and kind of give yourself a little raise whenever you want to without actually having to save or be better at budgeting. So just 401k. Please write that tip down. I'm telling you, this is something I used to do. I didn't max out my 401k, but when I was working in corporate, I had it at like maybe 15%. Whenever Christmas was coming up or I wanted to like give myself a little extra money, I would just go in, lower it to 5. I knew exactly how much each percentage was in terms of dollar amount back on my check. I could literally give myself a raise whenever I wanted to. So write that down. Buying every month. So this is an example. When you're buying every month through your 401k, it's something called dollar cost averaging, which just means you're buying at the same interval. But sometimes, as you can see on this chart, the peaks you're buying when prices are a little too high. Sometimes you're buying when it's low over time. High, low, it sort of averages, right? So you want to buy over the average. Now, if you think about this, maybe you want to buy a company like Google, but you're like, man, it's a like $1,100 stock, right? Can you buy an $1,100 stock? Can you buy 5 shares, 10 shares? 1 share is a struggle for most Americans. So don't feel, if that number is sounding intimidating. Most people do not have thousands of dollars saved up. We don't, as Americans. But there is a really simple way to buy it, even if you don't have, quote unquote, enough money. You got to think about the value. So here's an actual certificate of stock. Like I said earlier, most of the time we're doing this through online brokers. So nobody's actually like getting these and printing them out anymore. So here's what you can do. If we replace shares, go back to gas, for example, you can buy a fraction of a gallon. Nobody goes to the gas pump and says, hey, give me 7 gallons. No, you say, give me $5 worth. Give me $15 worth. So it's the same exact thing. There's a concept called fractional investing. There's several brokers that do it. I don't like to give people free advertising, but I'll give you this one because I love them. I use them personally. I also buy their gift cards for my events. When I literally give people stock at my events. Stockpile is a really great company. Here's why. They're a broker, they're online, it's an app, it's really, really simple and easy to use. If I pulled up Amazon, it's a $1,900 stock, almost $2,000, right? But here's what you can do, and this is actually from my, literally screenshots are from my phone. How much Amazon would you like to buy, Noble? $25 worth, $50, $100, $200. Notice none of these is $2,000, the $1,962.46. So you can do whatever dollar amount you want, and it'll give you a fractional share. So this one said the estimated shares are 0.5%. All you do is you can pay with your debit card, you can link it to your bank account, you can pay with either way, and it'll place the order for you. And guess what? You just bought $50 worth of Apple, or Amazon in this example. And here's the thing: if Amazon over the next year goes up 50%, whatever amount you've invested also will go up 50%. It's amazing. It's literally democratized investing. This one concept has made it so there is literally nobody in this country who should not be able to start investing. Now I want you to know how to invest and what to invest in, and I want you to get a good price. But the how's pretty easy. So hopefully that helped. Let's talk about these next two. I want to knock out is investing too hard, and I don't know when to invest. I want to knock out both of these at the same time. This part is going to be, this is what you came for. This is the meat. So I got to play this video. So check it out. Investing and buying companies in the stock market is simple. It is. You've just been conditioned to believe that it's hard. And in fact, you're already a great investor, but you probably just don't know it yet. So I'll prove it to you in this video. Welcome to. My name is Noble, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the secret of investing. It's just shopping. It's just shopping. So let's start here. Let's dive into it. What's your favorite cereal? Is it Special K? Is it Raisin Bran? Fruit Loops? Cocoa Pebbles? Actually, forget about yours for a second. We're going to use mine. Let's talk about Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Now think about this. What's the highest price and the lowest price you've ever seen it for? Right about now, your brain is pulling together all these different images, pictures from various prices over various stores across the years that you've been buying cereal. What if we could compile all this data and all those pictures into something that's a little bit more manageable, something easier to understand, something like a chart, right? A line chart. And let's say we could make this line chart go back roughly about a year. So let's do this. It's pretty easy to see if you take a look that the highest price is about $4 per box, while the lowest price is about $1.99. And we generally range from those lows to that high. It looks like we bounce from the high to the low every couple of months. And with just this information, just this little bit of information, I can ask you one really, really important question. What is the best price to buy this cereal at? What's the best price? Now let's assume two things. One, you love buying things at the lowest price possible. Who doesn't? And number two, let's assume that you're incredibly patient and you have no issues at all waiting for those low prices to come. Now, if we look at this chart one more time, you can see clearly the easiest, simplest answer is that the best price to buy was $1.99. There's nobody watching this, and in all the seminars I've done, nobody ever says $4. The answer is $1.99. And here's what I want to note for you though. You didn't need to have an advanced business degree to know that. You didn't have to be rich and come from a really wealthy family to know that. And it did not take you a lot of time or a long amount of time to sit and process what that best price was. It was simple and it was easy. You just had to see it. So this concept that you already knew, but didn't really know that you knew, is called support and resistance. Investors use it all the time. And essentially what it means is support is a price floor. It means that prices generally or historically have had trouble going lower than certain levels or certain prices. And resistance is the opposite. It's a price ceiling. We've had trouble going higher than a certain price over a range of time. And for my folks who work out, I know you're probably thinking about support and resistance bands, right? Support and resistance bands, same concept. Those bands are basically used by people who work out who want to essentially strengthen their muscles by using this band, which basically gives them a certain level of resistance, right? So the same concept is working. In the same way that investors can only stretch or push prices so far. And this concept, it works all the time and you see it on everything. I'm talking about Apple, Google, Amazon, Netflix, Twitter, Macy's, Tiffany's, foreign exchange currencies, futures contracts, everything that you can trade and make money on. This support and resistance concept applies to. So let's take a look at a chart for fun. Now, I say this all the time, and sometimes people look at me a little bit crazy when I say it, but it's just the honest truth. The recession of 2008 was just a huge sale on the entire stock market. It probably was the biggest and best sale most of us will see in our lifetime. So let's go back about 20 years. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the SPY, known as the spiders. It's called the S&P 500, which essentially is what they call a broad market index, which is just a real big way of saying this is like the all-star team. 500 of the biggest, best companies in the league. And as you can see on the chart, resistance was basically at a price level of a range, let's say about 150 to 155. And support over a period of years was found at around 72 to 77. It's super clear, easy to see. And if you remember the news reports during the end of the recession, these were the big questions. How low is the market going to go? How bad is it going to get? When is this selling? When is this massive selling of assets and stock? When is it going to stop? And let's be honest, to answer the question, all you needed was a chart, a little bit of knowledge, and some confidence. The lows of the recession were basically the exact same lows, the same support prices from 1997 and 2002. So that means we had an 11-year period, 11-year heads up to be able to analyze this and be able to make some strategic plans in case the market came down, which it did. Now, this is no different. Mind you, this is no different than the cereal example. It's the exact same concept working. And here's the thing, if you would have bought at that support level down around 72 bucks, the Dow Jones, the S&P. So here's what matters. It's all about price. It's all about price. One of my mentors, I should have said this earlier, is a guy who used to be a head trader at Merrill Lynch. Really talented, smart guy. Can't teach worth a dime, but amazing trader. This dude is doing like 250, 300,000 a quarter. Got a couple people trading for him, specifically in the futures market. Amazing guy. And what he taught me, I kind of was, studied under him, if you will. He was a mentor to me for a period, probably like 3 or 4 months, really hard. We traded every day together. What he taught me was invaluable, but at the highest level, what he taught me was really simple. And that was that everything that you can trade, there's only one way to trade it. And so buying low, selling high isn't just a mantra. It's literally the secret, right? And so what he, once again, what he went on to say was basically noble. Like, if you can learn how to master reading the charts, man, everything is in a chart. Everything is in a chart, and price is king, regardless of what it is. Like, it's about the price. It's not about watching earnings. It's not about reading every report. It's not about knowing every little small thing that happens in a company. It's about being able to pull these charts up and know how to understand price movements, right? That's where the secret is. So time is money, money is price, and the price is all in the chart. Because at the end of the day, all you really want to ask is like, is it on sale or not? I don't care what it is. I don't want to buy anything regular price. I damn sure don't want to buy it if it's, overpriced. I want to buy things of value at the right price. So Apple's a great company. I know it's a valuable company, but there is a price that's too high. There's a price that makes a lot more sense that's going to help you get a larger return. So let's do this for a second. Let's jump over to activism and active investing to make the example come true. Because this is what happened. I remember when this campaign came out, I saw a ton of people on Facebook and Instagram saying, oh my goodness, I love it. I love Nike, love what they're doing. I'm about to buy some Nike stock. Was that the best decision? Because how were you making that decision that it was the right time if you hadn't looked at price? Time is price to me. So how do we know what's the low price? Well, here's the thing. Let me go into a little bit of math. I know math is a big word, but don't get scared. It's literally, we're going to keep this super simple. I told you today is not going to be, it's not the advanced lesson that you could, sign up for and pay me to give you that advanced lesson. It's not. We're not going into all sorts of different types of indicators and standard deviation and all that. We're not. But there's one indicator. So if you've ever seen price charts, there's these different mathematical tools. They're called indicators. There's a couple different words. I won't even go into them. But all they basically do is they're trying to help traders or investors know when to buy or when to get out. They may speak to volume. They may talk about like one really big popular one is like the MACD, a moving average convergence, divergence, right? I think it's terrible. I think it's trash, right? But that's me. I've studied hundreds of these. There's only honestly for me one or two that work. And I can teach kids the same exact things that I'm teaching adults and my advanced students with the exact same indicator. So I keep everything consistent. Everything's consistent. So trust me. If you don't trust me, trust the math. And let me bring an example for just a little bit. I want to introduce this slowly. So let's say you teach an advanced statistics class, or like, what do I hate? I was never good at like chemistry. I don't know. My brain just, I can't follow the stuff. So let's say I somehow was in a chemistry class. And this professor knew over the last 10 years, the average for his final exam was 79%. I show up in class and the average, I don't know, somehow for his final was 97%. Guess what? It's probably easy to know that somebody cheated. The dude next to me had the whole formulas written out on his hand, right? And why does this happen? How do you know that something was happening? Because it's abnormal to go from 79% as an average over 10 years to the next thing you know, you're jumping up and 97 is the average. It probably means that people cheated because it's abnormal. So this is probably the most advanced slide in the class. I won't get really all deep into it. This is something called a bell curve. All it means is that where these two yellow stars are, if what was in the middle were prices, or maybe these were grade averages or salaries or anything, any amount of anything we could talk about that has numbers, data that we could drop in, the probability, the abnormalities exist at the tail end and the tail end to the left and to the right, basically, right? So if I kind of show you and get to what I'm getting to, if we flipped it this way, what it really means is at that top star and that bottom star, or on this chart, if you flip it the same way, if we go all the way down to that bottom line, that is literally at the space where less than 1% of prices or grades or whatever we're talking about exist at the top. The top is where less than 1% exists, right? So what does that mean? That means if we can pull this, we can just take that concept and apply this to a chart. Now a chart actually has a lot more value for you. Why? Because if we hit this bottom line, this bottom band, it's probably an amazing sale price, period. Really simple concept. And I want to play this out. I can literally drag out tons of examples because this applies to everything. Let's revisit Nike. So here's what actually happened when everybody said, oh man, this campaign came out, it's amazing, I want to buy Nike. First thing I did was look at the price chart. We were 83.49 was when it came out, but look where we are. Are we at that bottom band where the sale price, or were we at the top where it's overbought, where it's abnormally high? Now it's pushing, so yeah, you can make money, but let's be smart investors. You want to buy when things are low. You don't want to buy when they're high. And here's why. Because this is what played out. This is exactly what played out. So right there where the little Colin picture is, that was 83 bucks. Now what happened? A couple weeks later, the prices dropped. And where did we go? We went down to that bottom band. That was where the sale prices were. For about a period of, I don't know, what is this, about 8 or 9 weeks. Each candle represents a week. We were just bouncing off an area about between 66 was a low to like 70 bucks. We just basically kept bouncing off 70. It's the concept we talked about earlier with the cereal example. Support and resistance. This is where the market found support. We kept trying to go lower, but we couldn't. Clear as day. And if you couple that with this line that I'm telling you guys about, this bottom band, then it has a high probability of going back inside those lines, which means it has a high probability of going up, which means you have a high chance of making money. Now think about this. Here's the thing. If you didn't know anything and you just bought it because, I heard Colin, great campaign. I love Nike. I believe in Nike. This I really like. I want to invest even more in them. Okay, cool. You could have done that. But you would have had to stomach a 20% drop when it went down to 70. And right now you'd only be up 11%. If you were patient, if you paid a little bit more attention, but you used the charts because the charts are going to help you with pricing, you would have bought when it came down to 70. Hell, you might have bought several times, right? Because this was a period of about, like I said, 8 or 9 weeks. So you probably, if you're working, you would have had several checks, right? That you could have taken some money and put money into Nike. The difference is instead of being up 11%, you'd be up 32% right now. That's almost triple the return. Triple the return. This is why these charts are so important and so incredibly simple. So let's move over to Apple. Really classic example. Gotta love Apple. Same. I'm going to apply the same tool. All I'm doing is I'm looking at this bottom line. That's all I care about. It's really this simple. I hate to make you think it was going to be a lot more complex, but this really is how simple it can be, how simple it is. This bottom line, we touched the bottom band. Once again, that bottom band is where, less than 1% of prices go. 99.975% of the time, prices will be inside the two lines. We touched 150. Kind of bounced from there. We went higher. We came back around maybe like a year later, 175. We hit that bottom band. We went a little bit lower. 150. Look at that. Exact same place. So once again, that's support. We're bouncing off the same lows. Got to be able to see it though. And I think you can. Bouncing off the same lows. Here's the funny thing. We get it right as consumers. We get it wrong as investors. So during the recession, prices kept going lower and lower and lower and lower. And people were panicking. They were exiting trades. They were getting out of stocks. They were getting out when literally it was a sale. If that same thing happened at, let's say, for example, I don't know, Kroger or Whole Foods, wherever you go, both are publicly traded companies. Kroger is KR. Whole Foods is owned by Amazon. You can invest in either one, right? If you went into Whole Foods or Kroger and today everything was 50% off, you'd probably be pretty excited. But if you heard that next week, they're going to drop the prices again. Or you went back, you were driving by, and then today everything's 75% off. You're going to get super excited. You're going to tell some people. You're going to send out some tweets. You're going to go crazy. You're going to you're going to stock up. You might go buy a deep freezer just to buy stuff, right? So we get it right as consumers. When prices are low, we get excited. We get happy. Price being low is a good thing. As investors, when we see prices go low, like during recessions, we panic. We get scared. We gloom and doom. Oh my goodness, this is terrible. No, it's not. Recession was nothing but a great Black Friday sale. That's all it was. You got to see it the right way. So, consumer, investor, same thing. Buying stock, buying the products, same view. So here's the truth about Apple. If you would have bought at 150, you'd be up 50% right now. If you'd have bought at 175, those shares would be up 30%. Add those together, you're actually above 50%. Let's go to Sprint. Not a big popular stock you'll hear people talk about. You probably are like, man, why is he doing Sprint, right? Because you probably think Sprint's terrible. Well, here's the truth. $4. First time we hit the bottom band, we kind of ranged for a while, and we went down, went a little bit lower, touched it again. That was about a year. Now, that was a long year because you haven't really seen any profit. But once again, if you're a long-term investor, here's how things pan out. If we could get back to the same highs roughly at about 11, which are towards the left on this chart, when you would have bought at $4, you will make a 275% return. If you bought down at 3, that's a 367% return. And we're talking about Sprint. So it's not about how popular the stock is. It's not about what you hear on the news every day. Those people are selling you information. They got to sell things that just keep your attention, but there's hundreds of good companies. Let's look at Bank of America. You can already see it. Right around 15, 14 was a good buy. We ranged there for a couple of weeks. And we came back around here at 23. We got really close. Didn't touch it exactly, but got really close. So if you'd have bought at 14 right now, you'd be up at about a 235%. If you bought down at 23, even with buying at 23, you'd be up 43%. All right. And none of these charts that I'm showing you are like, these are all 2 to 5 years. 2 to 5 years. We're not talking about, no, this is Amazon. Amazon's a little trickier just because it kind of ranged and danced around for a second. It's a really quote unquote expensive stock. Or is it, going back to fractional investing. So it was up around 1,600, came lower, it went way under that band. Great price, 1,500. Kind of bounced, came back around, and we opened this green candle right next to that 1,400. We actually, prices opened for this month, opened under the band. That's such a good price. It's screaming by me. It's screaming by me. The probability, the math is in your favor. So if you bought at 1,600, you're up 28%. If we get back to these highs, which we're close to, probably will be by the time you watch this. If you bought at 1,500, you'd be up 37%. If you bought at 1,400, you'd be up 46%. It's all just time. Got to see price. Got to understand price. Let's look at one more. Let's look at Facebook. Facebook. So this is these charts represent months. So this is just a few months back. And you can see it clear as day. We went under that bottom band. We opened under it, that big green candle that shot back up. Prices were abnormally low. So this right now, you'd be sitting on a 67% return in roughly no time. This isn't even like 6 months. It's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's roughly about 5-6 months back. Half a year, 67% return. So it's possible. It is more than possible to be a great investor and to do more than just 5-10% every year from the companies that you know and you love. And here's the funny thing. All I really did was I just walked you guys back through the examples that I talked about for the stock trail. We walked through Apple. I showed you Sprint. I showed you Bank of America. I showed you Amazon. I just showed you Facebook. So this is the process. This is what investors do. Doesn't take a lot of time. Doesn't take a lot of money. But you got to start. You got to understand how important this is. So I will do one more because people often ask me, what about IPOs? Like, okay, Apple's a big company, but what about like small companies that we don't really know what they're going to do? So I say the same thing. You got to give it some time. And the interesting thing about this chart, the bands here didn't show up until about 20 periods in. Why? Because they need data to actually start their calculation, right? So they need like information to be on the chart. They just won't be there from day one. And what I always say is, IPOs, when the companies are new to the market, you got to give them a little bit of time. Facebook IPO'd at $40 and dropped down to 20. If you were so super excited about Facebook, you would have lost half your value and had to sit through that really rough period. Now it's up, but still, I don't want you to have to sit through these rough periods where you're just like waiting and hoping and praying that prices come up. I want you to buy at those lows, right? So if you pay attention here, this is Kronos. It's one of your really big popular weed stocks. I'll let you read up on them. Once we started to get some bands and get a little bit more information, which was only February to August, it's not like you had to wait years. You just had to wait some time to get, a little bit more information. That was roughly down at about $6. If you look at where we are now, if we get back to those highs that we just made in early 2019, then we're talking about a 416% return. That's pretty amazing. And it was honestly very, very simple. So Hopefully that was it for you. Hopefully that woke you up. That let you know what's possible. Because these guys, these financial floor traders and stockbrokers, they're smart. But guess what? You have access to the same charts. The same charts. So I don't know how to invest as the last one. Let me knock this out for you. And we're almost done. So what is half of 13? I know that's a weird question. Your instant answer is 6.5. But what else? What else outside of 6.5? There's multiple answers. So right now, a little frustration's probably setting in. Like the longer I sit here, if I was in your face and just sit here staring at you, looking directly in the eyes, you'd be like, "No, well, stop looking at me, man." Like I don't know. What the heck? What is half of 13? I don't know. What do you mean? It's like 6.5. What else? I don't know. Right? So I do that to frustrate you intentionally. Why? Because that's the frustration a lot of people feel with investing. They know it's possible. They know they can make money, but something about how I think. I don't know how to think about this to get to the answer. So here's the problem. Adults understand, or we basically function from reproductive thinking. So we heard half and you probably thought of divide by 2. Half means 2 equal parts. I didn't say divide by 2. But if I told you, if I was your coach, which I am in this 1 hour, a little bit over 1 hour training, if I told you to spell it out or change the language or express it differently, then my friend, it makes it a lot more clear what I meant by what is half of 13. 13, you can spell it out, the third and the teen. This is French. It's not 13, because like if you roll the tre, like that's like Spanish, right? So it was tre, it was like a 13. All right, so that's kind of how French goes. No, I can't speak French, but anyway, the Roman numeral, the X1, which is 11, the other 2 is 1 and 1 is 13, and then 1 and 3. And here's the funny thing, kids, the first time I did this with kids, they got it. They got several of these. I was blown away. But they're kids. They don't have any limits on how to think. They just freely think. So I don't know how to invest. You do. You just probably need a good coach to make you move a little bit faster. And that's what I'm here to do. Very last thing I want to hit today. I can't afford to learn. A lot of people think when it comes to classes, and there are classes that are wildly expensive. There are classes that are like 10, 15,000. There are classes that are thousands of dollars. There's all different types of people, claiming that they can teach you. But can they really teach you? Can they keep it simple? And have they traded any and everything from the advanced markets like futures down to stock and even taught kids? Most can't say yes to answer those questions. So here's the big idea I want to leave you with. This one investing class can change your life, because over your life, you may never have one investing class. This is not taught the way that I teach it. It's simply not. And it's so critically important to build wealth. So here's what I want to give you an opportunity to do. Limitless is a powerful, powerful online class. You've seen all the teaching I've given you today in this training. Hopefully this helps you to really see what's possible and to know that it is easy to learn how to do this. It's not super complicated. You don't have to have a master's degree. You don't even have to make a lot of money. You just need to make a decision to start. And I want to help you with the education that's needed. So Limitless is a powerfully dynamic class. It's simple, it's fun, it's engaging. This is a screenshot of the home page. We're kind of transferring everything over from Udemy to a new system. So I'm super excited. I got a kids class coming. I got Limitless 2, which is a more advanced version of the class coming. You can learn anywhere from anytime on any digital device. You literally just pull up your phone. Whenever you are ready to start class or dive into another lesson, you can be, well, I don't want to say you're sitting in traffic. That's probably not the best place. You're at the doctor's office and you're waiting on the doctor. You can just kind of sit, and go through some class. It's on demand. It's there whenever you're ready. It's an A to Z class. It's soup to nuts. I give you everything you need. And pretend like you know nothing about investing. It was designed for working professionals and busy people like yourself with families and kids and priorities. I get it. I'm busy too. But this is too important for you not to get and not to be able to know how to do. It never expires. So it's not one of those classes after 6 months you won't know, you'll be like, oh my goodness, it expired and I didn't get a chance to go through it. So what will you gain? Well, what you gain is very simply what I walked you through today. I want to help you to find the stocks that you need to invest in, right? And then I want to show you how to read price charts. I'm going to give you a lot more information. This was just 1 hour of information. The class is roughly about 18 hours. So it's loaded, but it's more than enough for you to be able to be a long-term investor and probably a good swing trader as well, without a lot of rigmarole. And you should not need another class after this. That was the design of it. The third piece, I actually teach you on a brokerage account how to place the orders. There's some apps now that make it even easier, but I walk you through everything you need. And what you're really getting is you're walking through like a conversational based sort of class that really is designed to make you an investor, to help think like an investor. So I want to give you that mindset. And here's the difference. Let me say a couple pieces really quick. So compare Limitless to anything else. What's the difference? Well, I think the knowledge base is one. And here's the crazy part. Look at the chart on the right. This was the example I showed you when the futures example, futures trading, that live trade. The example on the left is basic long-term investing. That was a 67% return we could have made on Facebook. No, this was the chart on the left is Nike. Those bands that I showed you, I use them across everything. So what I teach my advanced students, I've technically already taught you if you were to sign up for the basic class, which Limitless is like what I consider my basic class to get people moving and empowered. So my knowledge base is wide, it's expansive, and I've traded virtually at the highest level and the slowest level, which is just basic long-term investing. So I'm actually kind of setting you up. These are really advanced basics. They really are. Another difference is just quality level, with everything I try to do, and that the folks who are part of my team, what we bring is we're constantly thinking about the quality, even taking the time to build a presentation like this, to take the pictures and the videos and then just do some of the small things. She's holding a shirt that says I own Apple. I wanted my students to leave. One of the things we do, we play games, people get the stockpile gift cards. I want you to actually not be able to just wear a shirt that says I own Apple. I want to actually give you the gift cards to actually go buy some Apple, because we don't believe in lying around here. You got to be able to actually do it and be able to wear the shirt in confidence that you actually own Apple, So there's that piece. There's integrity here. Reviews. Let's go through a few reviews. This is Bianca. She's now options trading. She's doing well. She's a lawyer, really smart, lives here in Atlanta. She says in many ways, Limitless is a soup to nuts type of course. As a beginner, I knew very little. However, after completing it, I feel confident in my ability to read price charts and have a solid foundation of how the market works. I'm grateful for the course. Noble's passionate, makes the material relatable. Thanks, Noble. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Ontaria, same sort of thing. Noble's a phenomenal teacher. From someone who knew very little about stock, I can say my knowledge has greatly expanded. I definitely recommend this to you. Even if you have the slightest interest, this class is for you. You will not regret it, and you won't. And last one I'll go to, I just met Morgan not too long ago. She's super fabulous. We're a family. My students become family. We have some new things that are coming that are really going to be dope, just to kind of bring that community piece even more to life. But I really look at my students as family. People reach out to me all the time, and there's probably about a couple hundred students in the class. I don't hear from all of them, but the ones that I definitely do hear from, and I got to do a better job of kind of following up with everybody, they're doing well. They're investing. They've taken the class. They're confident. They're moving, and that's the whole goal. So Morgan, to end it, she said, investing in this course has been one of the best things investing in this course is one of the best things you could do for yourself. It'll probably cost you more not to. She came to an event up in Detroit. She just finished the class. She's excited. So let me say this last piece too. Making money doesn't mean you can teach. There's a lot of people in this space who, you may have heard of, and they're multimillionaires, or somebody gave them a lot of money and they started making all this money. There's just different figureheads to the companies. And so if you don't know me, what you should know about me is that I teach at a high level. I go through the work. I've sacrificed a lot to do this. And while I can trade futures or any market, it's not about me personally. It's about, can I, as your coach and teacher, teach? And I think what you probably have gathered from today is, I can break this stuff down, and I love doing it. So let's get to the main chase. So Limitless, if you were wanting to sign up and you just went to the website, it's $14.99. I want to cut that today because this is the 5th year anniversary. Business started in 2014. So I want to do what I used to do. I want to give you my friends and family pricing when I first started. That was $500. $500, and I'm letting you break it down to only 5 payments of $99. Now let's be real, fellas, come on. $99 is nothing more than a date. And dates usually cost more than $100 if they're good dates. And I know sometimes we want to do free stuff. That's cool too. But just to go to the movies nowadays, dinner, that's $100 easy. So very reasonable, definitely affordable price for the class. And here's the thing, I want to give you another little bonus. If you're like, man, I want to knock this out in one payment, I'm excited. Let's go. It's only a one-time payment of $375. That's nothing. There's televisions that are, $700-800, and the television is not going to make you more money. All right. So that's about it. That is my offer to you. Both are on the page that you're on, that you're viewing this webinar video on, down at the bottom. Take some time, talk to your husband, talk to your wife, make a sound decision. I didn't take you through all of this just to get you to where you're excited, but you don't have another vehicle to fully give you the transformation at all the steps. You need more than 1 hour. This was a great training, but you need the transformation. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you've been empowered. Hopefully you are excited about your future. I'm telling you, it's more than possible. Nobody breaks it down and shows people how this really works. It's not that complicated. Just takes a little time. Got to learn the charts. There's some terms you got to learn, but it's all doable. It's all possible. And I want you to be just like my other students. I want you to feel the way that I feel when I started learning and started making money. I literally felt limitless. So that's why I call it the business. I believe in that. And thanks so much for watching. And that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot over an email. Someone from the team will respond back. And that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful night. Or wonderful, I don't know what time you're watching this. Wonderful evening, wonderful morning. Have a great day.